Men of culture, we meet again. I know you've all thought this before. If women hate wearing bras and the men are staunch supporters of the no bra movement, then why do women still wear bras? Hell, why did they even start wearing bras? Is it all just an evil capitalist invention backed by a manipulative PR campaign devised by a psychotic madman in a rare fit of genius? After all, we were told that if we smoke weed, we might just axe our family. And you and I both know that's not true. So, what's the verdict on bras then? I did some digging, some research, a lot of Google searches on the topic of female chestwear, for science, of course. First, I thought, I will go into the past. I will check on the history of bras so I know when this whole thing started. Then I will consider the circumstances surrounding this invention. And there, immediately, brick wall. Turns out, the first known depictions of women wearing bra-like clothing dates 1400 BCE, some ancient drawing from an island of Greece, or part of Greece, I don't know. Editor intermission. I couldn't find the depiction in question mentioned in Wikipedia, and as I was looking for it, I found out that ancient Minoan women, which is the place in question, actually went around tits out, like the images you're seeing right now. Wikipedia notes that this depiction shows something like a corset holding the breasts, so that kinda counts. Either way, I have to say, Minoan fashion was based. Anyway, back to BCE, by the way, stands for Before Common Era, and it means before the birth of Christ. So that's about 3,400 years ago. Already it's very unlikely that some PR genius managed to trick ancient nations into buying their product. Further through history, there's evidence that suggests bra-like garments have been worn in ancient Greece and Rome. A funny tidbit is that in Rome, big milkers were considered grandmotherly, so mommy milkers used to wear bra-like clothing under their togas to make their milkers appear smaller. Perhaps the ancient Romans were not quite as cultured as we thought. Regardless, in some of the stories from Greek mythologies, the goddess Aphrodite is described as wearing breast-covering clothing. The exact words are not important. So even though we don't have perfect information, I would say we have enough to surmise that boob confiners have been a thing for a very long time. But why? Why? In the Middle Ages, although I'm sure it's true going as far back as the tribal history of our species, there are mentions of fashion regarding the breast bags or shirt bags, as they were called at the time. At that time period, we know for sure that outwardly appearance was taken into consideration when imprisoning perfectly fine bosoms. But that wasn't the only reason. Fashion was mentioned separately, almost like a byproduct of the main reason breast bags were used. Maybe I'm an idiot, but at the time of reading through this part of history, I could not tell what the reason was. The text was not written plainly enough for a school as thick as mine to understand. So I read on. Starting around approximately the 16th century CE, which means Common Era, corresponds to the calendar and dates that we're familiar with, the corset dominated the undergarment of wealthier women in the Western world. Now, I won't beat around the bush. All the bad, evil things you've heard about the corset are all true. Some corsets were designed only to support the bust, while others extended down to also shape the waist. This, my good gentlemen, is where the famous, or infamous, hourglass shape comes from. By my understanding, the corset was a fashion thing born of a practical need. It solved whatever the bra solved, then a psychotic madman, in a fit of genius, managed to spread this disease all across the Western world. Why am I being so harsh to the corset? It's not because I don't enjoy hourglass shapes. Not at all. It's because a big reason why many women preferred the bra over the corset, once it was eventually invented, was because, and I quote, lung function and mobility were priorities rather than outer appearance. I'm sorry, what? Lung function? Guys, I looked it up. Apparently, the corsets were tightened up so much that they constricted the waist within sometimes as far as 17 inches, or 43 centimeters if you're a reasonable human being that enjoys logical measurement systems. Current female clothing sizes that I saw don't go that low. Extra small is 24 inches or 61 centimeters at the waist. That's crazy. Thankfully, World War I happened. Wait, that's not a sentence I should be saying. Anyway, during World War I, there was a shortage of metal, and apparently corsets use metal. So the prices went up. Women decided they would like to breathe, and that was that. What replaced the corset was, finally, the bra. From there on, during World War II, when a lot of men went out world warring, women had to take over some of the jobs that needed doing, which led to bra enhancements in order to better protect women at their workplaces. Namely, the torpedo or bullet bras were designed for maximum protection, but were also used as fashion choice as they exaggerated the breast size. More importantly, they also made this thing, which is hilarious. Anyway, if you, like me, are wondering what kind of work-related injuries can be prevented with a spiky bra, I couldn't find anything conclusive. But I did get some logical answers from ChatGPT, which may be hallucinations, so take the following with a grain of salt. GPT said that since women had to go around and spend more time standing, they needed better breast support to accommodate the increased pressure caused by that. Furthermore, the safety bras also protected the breasts when moving heavy stuff around. I suppose things that would be carried close to the chest, where they could cause harm if there's too much moving around them? I'm not sure. But the reason, what is the reason? What is the genesis of chest fat holders? It's been in the text all along. I just couldn't understand it. I even mentioned it a couple of times already, and if you noticed it, you're probably popping veins over why I've been ignoring it all this time. Breast support. Sounds simple, right? What the fuck does breast support mean? Why do boobies need to be supported? Surely it's not a fatal flaw in human design. We've spent gazillion years evolving. Surely something that obvious would have been solved, right? Well, I did some research. First, do breasts need to be supported, or is it simply a convenience thing? Like sports bras. Imagine running with a pair of Jigglypuffs on your chest. Some containment would help with that, right? So maybe it's something along those lines. Wrong. A few different sources suggest that lack of proper support, such as not wearing a bra, can potentially lead to pain, where the most immediate effect would be sharp or burning pain in the chest area or breast tenderness and tightness. And also sagging, but I imagine that's not the most important reason women needed breast support. You know, pain being pain and all that. But why? Why is there pain? Gazillion years of evolution. The answer that I found is in these next bits that I'm going to quote. Women's breasts are made of fats and glands. Even though the ligaments provide the necessary support, breasts eventually sag in almost every woman. And to avoid this, girls should wear a bra. Wearing a bra lifts the breasts and helps prevent sagging up to some extent. Second quote. Without proper support, the ligaments that connect breasts to the chest wall can become overstretched and painful by the end of the day. The result is achy, sore breasts. This may be especially noticeable during exercise. Make sure your bra is the correct size and provides good support. End quote. So while it's not explicitly stated, I reason that over time, long term, the same way breasts start sagging, so the ligaments get worse and provide less adequate support for the more laborious days and or tasks. Also, separately from that, particularly heavy days can also cause pain with improper support, the same way a good exercise can cause muscle pain, though I'm not sure if there are any biological similarities between the two. And, of course, how prominent those things are depends on bust size. Additionally, bras also help with posture for women with massive jugs. Okay, so now we know why bras exist and have existed in some form or another for thousands of years. That brings us back to the premise of the original question. If women hate bras, etc., etc., why do women hate bras? Guess what? I did some research. The first thing I should mention is that not all women hate bras. Some love them. Why? What's the difference? I can't say for sure in every case, but there are two main reasons that I found. First is psychological stuff. Maybe some weird bra related story from their teenage years, or some wacky story they heard, or something else. Second, and by far the biggest reason, is an ill-fitting bra. Apparently, bras are notoriously difficult to get right. Why? Beats me. I'll never have to shop for a bra, so I spared myself that research. But I think we can all understand how wearing something that's the wrong size can feel like torture over time. I have personally had to deal with a number of ill-fitting shoes, and God, that sucked. Gentlemen, fellow men of culture, I am sorry to say, but upon concluding my research on the topic, I have decided that bras are not only not an evil invention, but are, in fact, net positive, if the bra is properly fitting. With that said, I should acknowledge that, as with most things on the internet, there are debates in favor of and against both sides, such as the debate that bras don't prevent sagging but rather prevent the natural supportive structure of the body from developing and strengthening to the required level, and science doesn't really have anything conclusive. If that's incorrect and there are studies that prove things this way or that way, I'd be interested to see them. For my money, if women wore breast supports since at least the 14th century BCE, then it's probably not all a hoax. Before I finish up this video, I would like to address any potential ladies whose curiosity and tolerance to blabbering saw them through to this part of the video. If you are experiencing issues with your bra, seek out more information on the interwebs and figure out how to hunt down a properly sized chest garment for yourself. I cannot vouch for any such vocation online as I have not had to use them, but I would start with the subreddit A Bra That Fits. Whatever you do, do something. Being in pain sucks, but not as much as the moon crash landing on Earth would suck. If you would like to hear me explain exactly why that's not happening, despite Earth's gravity's attempts to make it so, you can click here. That's it. Thanks, bye, thanks, subscribe, bye. Boop.